cut it. Okay. Well, sorry we had a little intermission pee break there.
He nipped it in the butt.
He nipped it in the bud. I'm really proud, though. So a few people had said, hey, why don't you get a whiteboard? Why don't you write down a few topics? And I was like, bitch, this is random thoughts. But they're right. It needs to be, we need to stay on a topic of some kind. And I'm really proud of us. I don't know, we're probably 6 minutes in, and we've talked about the same thing the whole time. But it was random. It wasn't written down.
It's relationship. No one's going to talk about it. You seem that everybody's in a perfect relationship.
Yeah.
It's like we were going to trip, last weekend. Mm-hmm. And I thought everybody had a perfect relationship except for me and my future wife.
Where did I end up?
It's like, whoa.
Where's Nathan?
Yeah. We all deal with it, but
Yep.
we're so afraid to talk about it. And like that day, we were taking that road trip, I guess we had no one else to talk about, and we both started being vulnerable. And it's just, it's hard. And then finally realize, yes, we are raised to be tough. But then I think the toughest men is the ones that can actually come out and talk. And the only way also we're going to learn from each other is by being vulnerable and say, hey, look, I messed up right here. This is what happened. This is what I did. This is how I fixed it. Hey,
You nailed it right there. I don't think I've talked about it on here, but it's something that I could talk about for days to explore the concept of beta versus alpha. See, everybody talks about things in which they think things are binary, on or off, like a light switch. And nothing is that way in real life. Everything is variable or analog. If you can make 0 to 10, 4 to 20 milliamps, I can think about this in electrical terms. To what degree you are or are not something, whether you're narcissistic, vulnerable, insecure. Everybody says, well, you're insecure and I'm not. No, we all are these things. I think that alpha and beta is the exact same concept. You are and are not, to some degree, beta or alpha. And I think that's the way I see it. And when you just described the toughest guys are the ones that can be the most vulnerable, I agree with you 1,000%. The meanest man in the bar is the most beta. He has something to prove to himself and the people around him. He walks in fear. I realize the guys that can fight the best are the scaredest about what you think about them. I think that true alpha, is a state of mind. It's how much. It's a measurement of self-respect. I have a huge degree of self-respect here, alpha. I'm insecure, beta. But I think that needle moves back and forth depending on the topic. And I think you're constantly moving depending on what the circumstance is. If that makes any sense at all. Like, so talking about being vulnerable in my insecurities, it simply means I don't give a fuck what you think. That's alpha. I don't. If that makes sense. Now, I ain't saying I go through life saying I don't give a fuck what they think. No, that's beta, right? If you care does that make sense? Am I making sense? You go through attitude. You go through life with an attitude, pretending like you don't care, and you go gothic, right? And you go against the grain. I don't give a shit about society. No, you care the most. But if I genuinely can sit down and tell you the truth, I don't care to the degree to which I am afraid to tell you the truth. Yes, I care. Otherwise, I'd be a sociopath. Like, if it doesn't affect you, then something's wrong with you. But if it affects you to the degree to which you're afraid to voice your opinion or your ideas or simply stand up for what you believe in, well, then that's a beta way of thinking. I think that the difference between alpha and beta is how much do you believe in whatever it is we're discussing. Because I think that needle goes back and forth. I don't think anyone is alpha. I think it depends on what you're talking about, right?
What you're talking about, where you are, who you with.
Yeah. I went from a completely alpha state of mind on a concept that I won't discuss to beta, bitch. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm terrified. I think that betas, I'm susceptible to your opinion. I'm easily swayed. I'm vulnerable to being influenced. That's a beta way of thinking. And I think alpha is not a male-female thing. It's not a male or a female. It is male and female. It's a human way of thinking. And I've never heard it described that way. And that's kind of what I've developed.
So with that said, bringing it back to the relationship, it's the same thing. I mean, whether you're male or female, you're scared what your partner thinks of you, because we have this image from outside. Mm-hmm. You know, oh, he's tough. Or oh man, she can be mean. She's tough. I don't want to. So you already have this image, but inside, we're different people. And when we open up, we become a glass door. And then the fear keeps us. Hey, if I'm open to Nathan and tell him, hey, I messed up, and I don't know what to do with my significant other because I messed up, is Nathan going to give me good advice
or judge me,
or is he going to judge me?
Yeah,
is he going to say
you're on track now? I know what you were trying to say.
So, but it goes back to being the alpha. It takes a real person to look someone in the eye and say, hey, I messed up in my relationship. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it. Yeah. Then you come, hey, I hear you and your wife having trouble. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. She's being crazy. Trying to ignore it because that fear.
This is complicated.
Relationships are very, I think relationships can be so, life in general,
but especially when it comes to being
could be easy, but we make it complicated because
we have an
ego,
fear. Though. That is
think
your ego. Your fear
is
your ego.
Is what keeps us from.
Well, we're 10,000 years away from evolving. I'm just making that number up. I think we're a long way away from not truly caring what other people think. I don't want to get into that. It's a whole nother concept that I think about all the time, that we're still an animal. We're still evolving as a species, right?
This is where you need the whiteboard so we can write down.
No, because this is complicated. I mean, this is something I don't understand. I don't pretend to understand.
You can write down topics.
You're on the right track. You're on the right track. It's I've rendered it down to self-respect. Like everything, there's one, when it comes to this, when it comes to alpha, beta, it's leaving a relationship before cheating, like just anything in general. I simply think that people have a lack of self-respect. We're taught as children by our parents, which are flawed creatures, and nobody knows what they're doing when they have a child. Like, you're expected to know internal instincts. No, man, we just don't know. And so we're afraid to ask other people's advice, whether it be a relationship or parental or whatever. Like I'll get sidetracked there. A lack of we're taught as children to respect others. Always. We're taught to defend ourselves. In a good home, you were taught to respect others and to defend yourself. I can't recognize one instance that a child was taught to respect themselves first before the parent. Okay, what I mean is, in life, I think that we've done it a little bit wrong. I think that we should be teaching our children to respect themselves first. And let society stand up for themselves and be obligated to respect themselves. What I'm saying is
so if you can't respect yourself, how are you going to respect others?
How can anyone respect you? It's only when you stand up for yourself that you're respected. Whether it be a parent respecting a child, it's only when the child says, no, you're not going to talk to me that way. I'm an adult. Let me make my own mistakes. And the parent stands back and says, hell yeah. It's like they're ready for the world. But what if parents sat down and said, don't ever let me talk to you that way? I had this moment. Let me explain. This is like my epiphany moment. I was working on